carries. Thank you very much. Item H8.
Discussion of proposed special use parks permit and a special event permit for the Cedar Stock Tribute Band Festival.
Ms.
All right.
Randa.
Hello again, Council. Kurt Randa, Parks and Recreation. This item tonight is for the discussion and feedback on the proposed Cedar Stock Tribute Band Festival that was presented by the Cedar Park Entertainment Group at the January 25th council meeting. Cedar Park Entertainment Group is requesting the use of Veterans Park for a full-day music festival and is planning to use the adjacent private property for parking the expected 2,000-plus attendees. Just a little bit of background on this event. In December, the Cedar Park Entertainment Group contacted staff from Parks and from Tourism to propose the Tribute Band Festival. The Cedar Park Entertainment Group then presented their proposal to the PACE Board on January 8th and then to the Council at their last meeting on January 25th. City staff, including Parks, Planning, Legal, Engineering, Fire, and Police departments, then met for a comprehensive review of the permit applications, and the comments that were generated from that meeting were sent out on February 6th. As you know, Veterans Memorial Park is the identified event location. This slide actually shows the park outlined in red, and then the privately owned 10-acre property outlined in yellow below that. The blue shaded area is the approximate fence line for the ticketed guests. This shot here shows a little bit of a closer view of the existing conditions. Some of the small to medium-sized cedar on the 10-acre private property in the foreground, and then in the background, the more maintained mowed area of the park where the stage and spectators would be seated. So here's a brief summary of what we feel are some of the key issues on this event. As far as future implications are concerned, the issue there would be if approval of a large-scale, privately run music event were to happen, then we would most likely get additional requests in the future. To accommodate this, we would most likely need to rethink and expand our special events resources and also need to carefully evaluate potential impact to the public's use of the parks, damage mitigation, as well as cost of repairs and recovery costs associated with several city departments such as police, fire, parks, and public works. The second point there related to the issue of parking is that there is really not enough parking at Veterans Park or really any other park for that matter for a large-scale music event of this type. One of the main reasons we haven't proposed an event like this with the city is because of the parking limitations. At Milburn Park on the July 4th event, it does work because of the nearby parking for LISD parking lots and ACC, which are very large parking lots. Anyway, this proposal for this event is to use a 10-acre field owned by Bill Pohl located between the park and Woodall Drive. A big risk here would be actually if there happened to be heavy rainfall prior to the event, then coming up with a rain-out plan or contingency. Another idea related to the parking is the attendees will try to park on streets in the nearby neighborhoods. As you know, on-street parking is legal in these residential streets, and we may be able to do temporary restrictions on parking similar to what we do at Milburn Park in the adjacent neighborhood for the July 4th event. And finally, on parking, city ordinance does prohibit parking along the New Hope right-of-way, and we would need to carefully be able to police that so people didn't park in the non-paved right-of-way of New Hope, which is an arterial. Number 3, the issue with closing the park is that currently all events that are approved with those parks special events permits that you see, those are carried out with the expectation that the parks remain open to the public. And at this time, the public reaction to closing a park for a private event is still unknown. Number 4, as far as noise impacts, The event would have to comply with a noise ordinance throughout the event, and obviously if the stage is directed away from the neighborhood, that would certainly help, but there still could be several complaints in this regard. But I believe with proper monitoring and compliance, and as well as the event ending at 10 o'clock, the noise situation could be managed fairly easily. And lastly, the costs of parks restoration and additional costs such as police, emergency services, staff overtime, and other departments will need to be addressed. The ordinance does require that the applicant agree to these additional costs, and also this is one of the comments that was sent out in the comment letter. So with that, just reviewing the next steps, after receiving council feedback, tonight we would get the applicant's response to all of the comments. The staff will then determine if additional review or comments are needed, and would bring this back for consideration at a future council meeting. And at this time, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, council?
I think a lot of these comments are good. I guess a question I have, don't they close off a big part of Milburn when they have that kids try there? Don't they close the pool and parts of the park for the bike, transition areas and things like that?
The parking lot is used for that. The pool itself is used prior to opening, so
Right,
the
right.
pool isn't open at that time.
Yeah, but it's not an unknown thing that portions of parks, and they're
Right.
from what I can see, they're not closing off the whole park. They're closing off the relatively undeveloped field area.
The dog park.
And well, it looked like the dog park was still open. Can you go
And I
back to
believe the parking, the closing of the parking areas is yet to be determined. That's something
Right.
to be worked out because it
Yeah,
may be
no, I think
difficult
that's all.
to open one section and
I think those are all good comments. We did also twice close off a part of the roadways around the Heritage Oak for the shifter cart race back in 01, 02, or 02, 03, somewhere in there. And they did do parking on what used to be an undeveloped lot, but I think now is the whatever that place where like E-Store is and all those things over there. I mean, that's doable. There's ways to like bring in mulch and put it down and things like that to mitigate the damage.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems doable. I think it's good for you guys to go have conversations with the folks who are sitting right there about their plans on that kind of stuff. And since I do live in the neighborhood that is most impacted by Milburn, definitely either prevent parking in the neighborhoods while this is going on, or limit it to one side of the street like you do at Milburn during Splash Jam and 4th of July, because we can't get in or out of our neighborhood if you don't do that.
I'd like to see us be creative and thoughtful and looking at having events like this. So I guess we have to kind of figure out how to make it work and come up with solutions. I think that's one of those cultural events that citizens would like to have. So I'm supportive. We just have to figure out how to make it happen, make it work out.
Out of curiosity, did y'all look at Gupton or any of the stadiums?
LISD does not permit concerts at any of the LISD stadiums.
They do let there's a race every year that runs out of
you
the
can do a 5K
runs out of the
run, you
Gupton
can do
parking
stuff
lot.
like
Yeah,
that, but they don't want anything or anyone on their field.
yeah, we don't go inside.
Just asking.
Yeah,
I always thought it'd be a great place to do the 4th of July, actually. So,
yeah, give up that dream.
I got to believe that alcohol sales is also got to be there for the money to work.
there's no question about it.
and is
for us.
prohibited at LISD.
Yep.
The one biggest concern that I have, I agree with Councilman Thomas that we really do need to figure out a way to start promoting these things rather than figuring out how to say no, how to say yes to these types of events, because they're things that just can make us a fun, great place for people to come. My one concern though is, and this is not for you, Kurt, this is for these two gentlemen here. Have either of you or anybody that you've worked with done an event on this scale before?
Yes, I've been in this business for 37 years. I've done multiple festivals. I am in the sound, lighting, video staging, concert, festival, and Fortune 100 business. That's what I do. I'd like to clarify a couple of things real quick. When you apply for these permits, it's all online. So we uploaded all the information. We applied for the permit. We received a letter. Kurt said that we didn't receive a letter till February 6th, but actually we received one on January 9th from KC. And KC said in that letter they had some concerns from building review. Mario, if you can give me this.
Control? You want to drive?
This, yeah. Do y'all want to see the presentation again, or you happy with the 6 minutes you got last time?
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember it well.
So this letter was dated the 6th. It had some concerns from the building department, the fire department, the community affairs review, and the landscaping planning review. We met with Lieutenant Kraft from the fire department. We ironed out all the 2012 International Emergency Plan for events, special events. We told him exactly what we were going to do, showed him our site plans. We actually added 2 more fire marshals than what they were requesting, just to be safe. The police department only required 8 police officers. We added 4. So we met with those people, we addressed all that, and then 48 hours ago, Tuesday afternoon, we received this from Kurt, which was another 44 requests. And to Steve Thomas's point, we're happy to do everything we can. We have to take out the insurance on this event. We want this to be the best, safest event that Cedar Park has ever had. I mean, the whole reason we came to you with this is because we live and work in this city and we're passionate about it. You guys have seen me up here so many times on issues. None of these issues ever put money in my pocket. We want the city to host this event. And the reason we want the city to host this event, it's not about the money for us. We're not going to make any money this first year. We may not ever make any money second or third year, but we want to put this city on the map for the only city in Texas or in a 10-state area around it that has a tribute festival. The only city. It's going to put heads on beds. It's going to add to our retail. The reason is one of the reasons we want the city to host this is because the city has an exemption. That if the city hosts the event, then we don't have to provide the 70 things that we're being asked to provide right now. We laid out a good plan. We met with PACE. We explained to the fire department. We've talked about insurance, private security, the police department, the fire department. We dealt with the ADA, making sure that they had their own bathrooms. In fact, the first 20 feet in front of the stage is reserved for ADA and VIPs. So the general admission people can't even get it up there. Normally ADA, we're only required to provide them an area that has access that's roped off. We're giving them front row seats. We have gone above and beyond the call of duty. And to get this 48 hours ago, and then for Kurt, and I'm not picking on Kurt, but to say for us, our time now is to speak on the address all the 44 comments that were given to us 48 hours, less than 48 hours ago. It's not reasonable. We are trying to do something here. We are open to a different venue. We'll do it at Milburn Park. The reason we didn't want to do it at Milburn Park is because we were worried about the noise ordinance at the 90 decibel level at the sidewalk on the street. We'll do it there. There's plenty of parking there. Then we don't even have to involve Bill Pohl. We are open to alternative venues. You tell us we want it at Milburn, or we want it here, or we want it there. We're open to that. We're open to dates. In fact, we changed the dates. Originally, we were going to do this April 28th. We met with the tourism board. They said, listen, we need you to do this event in May or June because that's when we have the most vacancies. Okay, well, we talked to them. We also went a step further. Tim went and met with every general manager of every Cedar Park hotel and said, what are your thoughts on this event? Do you think this is what your taxes, the whatever occupancy tax is supposed to be for? And they said yes, because we don't get heads on beds from the Texas Stars. The teams don't stay here. The fans don't stay here. They all stay in Austin. We want this.
Change.
We want this city to host this event because that's the only exemption we see, according to the city ordinances. We will abide by everything that you want, but the fact that we're going to have, I can't tell Bill Pohl, I got to cut down all your 5-foot cedar trees because the Parks Department wants them. Okay, we already offered to mow the field, and because obviously that was we talked with the fire department. We want it low so that no tailpipes can ignite anything. You know, we had a security plan. We had parking attendants. We had everything. We worked it out with Bill. The only thing that isn't done with Bill is signing the contract. I gladly would love to not have to use Bill's 10 acres because it's going to cost us money. It's not free. So I'm open to questions right now. Really, I mean, we were going to give the full 15-minute presentation. You guys don't want to see it again. We're open to a change of venue. We're open to a change of dates. You work with us. We definitely want to work with you. And we definitely want to work with the Parks Department.
Let me, I'm confused now. Are we saying we want them to preserve those little cedar trees? I'll pay money not to have cedar trees. I mean, I can't breathe half
Well,
the year.
it's not our property of Cedar Park residents.
I know, and
It's-
so
it's-
I don't know if it's Mr. Pohl that wants the cedar trees protected somehow. I mean, they're not even protected trees in our ordinance that I'm aware of. So
Well, no, I think what Kurt is indicating that, you know, in order to fill the whole area, and Kurt can step up and
right.
answer that, is you know, you do have trees there, so you can't look at the whole 400,000 square feet there, which is 10 acres. I'm assuming probably only about I'm assuming that probably only about 7 acres are actually usable, but you do have the potential for fire, obviously, for everything. If we mow it all down, this is contingent upon the agreement with Mr. Pohl and as the
Right.
property owner and all that too. All right.
Sure.
So this is something that we do need to work with. But Kurt, do you want to say something about the cedar trees and all that?
Oh, no, I think that hits it pretty close, is that that full site may not be usable, or access routes in and out would need to be laid out around those trees if they do stay. So, and so we need to answer that question.
So everything was really important that came up here tonight. Okay, and we look at this as even more important. I can't, I'm sure that a few of you may have gone to the website, and we did make a correction that was noted in the letter also. And if you look at the potential quality of bands that we want to bring, your jaw drops. I mean, that's all there is to it. You know, ZZ Top guys, they look just like, when you get them on the phone, they actually sound like you're talking to the guys from ZZ Top too. But just as a greater example, you know, what just happened last week? We've got Paul Simon. He's done after this year. We got Leonard Skinner, even though there's only one member left of the band. They're done after this tour. And then also Elton John. So it really is, the future of live music for us to enjoy. And I'm telling you also, again, I'll say it again, those kids down in college at UT, they like this music too. They sing it. The future of live music is only through tribute bands. And what we want to do is bring the best and the highest quality, most authentic tribute bands to the city of Cedar Park. We appreciate your input. You're absolutely right. We don't want things to be difficult. We want it to be easy, but also we want to have as little impact on the city as we can. Hey, if it's Milburn Park, then great. Everything stays the same, just like for your Heritage Park, except that we're bringing in, a 60-foot by 30 full stage, which a lot of these bands have probably never played on anyway because they're used to the smaller ones. We're bringing in the vendors. We're gonna bring in the let's see, there was the stage and the musicians. We're gonna bring them in, and just to let you know, as it was questioned on the pace board when we presented them back in January, yes, there are other styles of music. We're not just stopping with rock, but we need to get the first year off because rock will draw it in. We don't have any problem in the future, an alternate venue or same venue, different time periods. Bring in something that'll turn on, like my wife from the Hispanic, she's from Guanajuato, Mexico. So of course, that was one of her ideas in the beginning that she brought up to me, and I'm like, yeah, that's good too, but let's get this off the first year.
They're EDM tribute bands.
I'm sorry.
Are there EDM tribute bands?
No, there's no electronic dance music tribute bands. I'm sorry, not yet. But if we find one, we'll book them just for you.
I had my glow sticks ready to go. So
We're not stuck.
What we're trying to do, and the reason this helps us, is because nobody's doing this. Austin isn't doing this yet, but I promise you, within 3 to 5 years, because all these acts you cannot go see anymore, somebody's going to jump on this. So let's beat them to the punch. Let's make this festival, let's make Cedar Park known for the Tribute Festival, because there's no one in the southern half of the continental United States doing this. No one. We will be the first. We're not doing this because we want to get rich. If we were, we wouldn't be gambling like this. We would go to Vegas. We would do this because we love this community, and we see this as an opportunity to make Cedar Park not only known around here, you know, within 50 miles, but within 200 miles. We want people from Dallas to go, oh man, you got to go to that Cedar Park Fest. It's the greatest thing ever. You can see and hear the bands you can't see and hear anymore. So we want to partner with you guys. We want to be on board with you. We're not trying to make Kurt's job difficult, and I know he's not trying to make ours difficult. He's following city ordinances, but I encourage you to go look up Section 6 on the city ordinances and see what we're up against. I mean, we literally have to do a scale drawing showing where we're going to park every car on that private property.
Yep.
It's a lot, and it's an expense.
Well, Trey, I don't think that anybody up here. I think everybody up here, at least as far as I've heard, thinks the idea is awesome and creative and sort of, you know, groundbreaking, if you will. I don't think you got to sell that. I think I was shocked when I saw a bunch of the stuff that was required. I didn't know 90% of that stuff. You know, I didn't think about it. I thought, well, I didn't really think about that. And so when I start thinking about what y'all need in terms of if it's a city deal, I don't know how that plays in with the alcohol. You know, I don't know if that pulls alcohol out of it, or you have to bring your own alcohol, or you can't do sales. I just don't know. I know that's got to be some kind of revenue stream, and you've got these other boards and then I also thought, just to be honest with you, looking at all these regulations, because when you're in a city, that's what you get, and as soon as you cross the line into the county, all those evaporate, or a lot of them do. And so if you hold it in the county, right across the street, you know, all of a sudden those go away. Or can you still put people in Cedar Park hotels? Yeah. I don't know how that works with the hotel tax or anything like that. I mean, I'm not an event planner. I've been around these things, but I'm not in this business like you are. I think there's a way it could work. I don't know which way that is, but it sounds to me like what we're up against is that people like the idea. That's not the issue. The issue is, how do you get to where y'all need to go with the money and the red tape, that those two variables, with the timing that you have?
Well, let me address the alcohol issue first. We only plan 2 fenced-in areas, small fenced-in areas. It won't be open container. They will be gated, so you can only go in. You'll be ID'd to go into that small fenced-in area, and we'll have tables and chairs. And you can only drink the beer or the wine in that fenced-in area. You can't take it back out and go sit with your family. So that's how we're dealing with the alcohol. We're calling them beer gardens, is what they are. They're just small beer gardens. We're not going to have open containers walking around or any of that. We don't want that, because we're still pitching this as a family event, and I don't want some guy who's had too much carrying 2 beers back and sitting next to my 15-year-old daughter. We get it. That's why we're having those. And because it's a family event, the amount of alcohol consumed is probably going to be much less than it would be, say it was just an open concert festival like ACL, where everybody's drinking.
Yep.
So to address the other issues, yes, we did talk to the Williamson County, Randy, who's the Parks Director for Williamson County, and yeah, the regulations tank when we go into that park, and it's literally across the street. Again, we want this to be Cedar stock, not Wilco stock. We want to bring this event to the city. Well, we're trying to do something, not because we have a big heart, just because we love our city. We want to do something for our city.
So let me ask this. So we know parking is like the huge, albatross. It seems to be the biggest problem. But have we considered like shuttles? I mean, especially if we want to get heads in bed, there's an incentive for them to stay at certain hotels because they have a shuttle.
That's why we're open to a change of venue, because Milburn, there is no parking issue. In fact, the city shuts Cypress Creek down both directions for the 4th of July thing to get people in and out. So We're not opposed to Milburn Park. The only reason we didn't go with Milburn Park was because we were facing the noise ordinance.
Yeah.
And that Milburn Park is surrounded on 3 sides by neighborhoods. And then if you go behind the school across the street, there's another neighborhood. Now, if we did at Milburn Park, we would do like they always do, and the stage would face east in front of the pavilion. And I mean, it's a big stage. It's not like the one the city owns. I'm not picking on the city stage. It's not a size matter.
No. We love
But
those.
it's a professional concert festival stage. So and it's a full line array PA, sound and lighting. So we thought, one, because we're donating any part of the proceeds of what we make to Heroes Night Out and to Wounded Warriors, we thought Veterans Memorial will tie the whole thing in. And also because the 19th is Armed Services Day, I believe. So we're not opposed to moving it to Milburn or anywhere that city staff thinks we can, I mean.
Okay, well, it says.
Trey, let me ask you this: if it was not for the noise ordinance, you'd be willing to do it in Milburn?
Yeah. Absolutely. Because it's an outdoor festival, I've been doing this so long. You give me a field, I'll put a show on.
So let me try to wrap this up for you. We're not opposed to a change. However, I used to live over there. I used to live right behind Cedar Park High School. People who don't like it when you're parking all over the place on their streets, off the side of the road. You offer it at the middle school, and you also offer it at the high school, and people may walk. They don't provide, or maybe they do provide shuttles, but it's still a nightmare over there. This really is the best area, other than Southwest Williamson County Regional Park. This is the best place. Now, if the city wants to buy the Southwest Regional Park, then it'll certainly we'll be happy to do it there. But we really want it to be in Cedar Park. If this is not doable, then that's what we really need to know at this point, because we're getting close. Yeah, we do have an alternate date. We're not looking at that alternate date. We have pushed it to May instead of April, which was the prime time. There are other months that the hotel occupancy does need heads on beds, but that's not going to assist, and it just won't work and jive with us.
Is this a permit that the council has to approve?
Once we meet the 44 additional requirements by the staff in the staff
Right.
comment letter, then and they say yes, it's good. If they don't have any additional questions after that, then it would come before you to approve the permit, unless you are hosting the event as the city.
And that's the key thing here.
I think we give
Is if
ourselves
you're hosting the
permits, too.
event, then the exemptions go away, which is why Cedar Fest and the 4th of July and all the other events that the city hosts do not have to succumb to these requirements. Now, we're in no way suggesting that we're trying to get around any of those, but if the city hosts the event, then the city has say-so, and yes, we're not going to make them do that. They are going to have to do the fire plan, they are going to have to do the police, they are going to have to do this, but we're not going to make them do that.
Probably because the city staff's doing it all. I'm guessing if they host it, they end up doing everything.
Well, no.
Instead
I
of
mean, it's
relying
not
on
going to
somebody
change
else
our
to-
workload. We're still going to have to plan this thing, and we're still going to have to execute it. It will be produced by Cedar Park Entertainment Group.
Okay.
It's not going to be, okay, we'll book the bands, and here you go. We would never do that to city staff.
Okay.
They would never forgive us, no.
Mr. Mayor?
I think we've provided some feedback, and hopefully our staff will take that feedback and the information you've shared and continue to see if a solution can be found.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Brenda, if this does get added to the agenda for the next meeting, can we please go before the feral cats?
That's all up to the mayor.
Every meeting.
No. Where are we?